friends to this daily video devotional. I want to share with you a story that comes from the Gospel of Luke. And Luke has always been one of my favorite Gospels, and it just shares such a wealth of stories and narratives. And so I wanted to share this one with you. We have here the story of Jesus calling his disciples, particularly a disciple named Levi. And what happened with Levi is this. It says in chapter 5, verse 27, starting there, it says, "Afterward, Jesus went out and saw a tax collector named Levi sitting at a kiosk for collecting taxes." Tax collectors were not loved. It wasn't that they represented like the IRS, not the case. They cheated you, they swindled you, and they had the government's backing to do so. Jesus said to Levi, "Follow me." Levi got up, left everything behind, and followed him. Then Levi threw a great banquet for Jesus in his home. A large number of tax collectors and others sat down to eat with them. The Pharisees and their legal experts grumbled against his disciples. Now, when we see this idea of legal experts, what we're talking about is not the people who know the speed limits of the various roads. That's not the kind of law we're talking about. We're talking about religious law, biblical law for the Jewish people. They said to him, "Why do you eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners?" Jesus answered, "Healthy people don't need a doctor, but sick people do. I didn't come to call righteous people, but sinners to change their hearts and lives." When we read this, sometimes we read it right on the surface level of Jesus is acknowledging that tax collectors and those who were gathered in the home of Levi were those who needed the doctor most, right? They needed Jesus the most. They were the ones who needed forgiveness. They were the lost people who needed to change their hearts and lives. And he offers this distinction. Listen to what he says here again. He says, "Healthy people don't need a doctor, but sick people do. I didn't come to call the righteous people, but sinners to change their hearts and lives." Now, as he's saying this, my suspicion is that the Pharisees, the legal experts that were there, who were trying to keep religious law, they were doing something out of the goodness of their heart. They really were trying to do the right thing. Sometimes we paint Pharisees and the legal experts in the Bible as these bad people. They're not bad people. They're trying to keep in covenant with God. That's their goal. They see themselves as the righteous people. We know the righteous people, don't we? We know the people who are the ones who would say, "I'm a Christian, I'm a good person," as if that's a qualifier, right? That being a Christian automatically makes you a good person. Because you can say you're a Christian and not be a good person. It doesn't stop us from saying that. They see themselves as the righteous people. And those who are gathered in Levi's house, those are the sinners who need to change their hearts and lives. But I think what Jesus is doing here is actually kind of not poking fun, but helping to make a point. The very fact that you hear that sentence and think, "I am the righteous," means that you're probably among those who need to change their hearts and lives. It's kind of like the song "You're So Vain" by Carly Simon, right? You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. She never says in the song who it's about, but throughout the whole song, you get the sense that somebody's sitting there hearing the song thinking, "Oh, this is about me." And just the fact that you think it's about you means that you're so vain. For the Pharisees, just the fact that they hear this and think, "Well, I am the righteous, they're the sinners," means that you're probably actually sitting among the sinners yourself. And one of them too. I think this passage speaks a lot to the church today. Moments when we come to believe that just because we are a part of a church community means that we are on the right side of things. And all those who are not in church, they're the ones who need to change their hearts and lives. In other words, sometimes we become Pharisees, don't we? We become the Pharisees in this story who feel as though we've got it all figured out. We're in the right. Jesus challenges that. Just because we think the song's about us means that it probably isn't, but we probably have some changing to do. And I'm among you who has some changing to do. Moments when I feel like I've got it figured out and others have some work to do. I've got work too. And so let us change our hearts and lives, one little bit at a time. And then we'll find ourselves eating with God and God's invited guests. Amen.